Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, February 11th, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, look ahead to today's games. We'll recap last night's and this morning's action in the Australian Open, and we will pick Friday's matches, my NBA Power Rankings for the week, Masked Answer, recap, and my best bet of the day. We're going to start with college basketball. As I mentioned at the top, we will go over the results from yesterday, and we will look ahead to a busy slate tonight. Providence over UConn 70-59, Pepperdine over San Francisco 76-68, Tulane over Tulsa 58-48, UNC Greensboro over Furman 64-58, Indiana over Northwestern 79-76 in double overtime, Old Dominion over Charlotte 78-76 in overtime, number 8 Houston over South Florida 82-65, number 9 Virginia over Georgia Tech 57-49, so best bet comes through. Bradley over Valpo 76-52, Drake over Northern Iowa 80-59, Wake over BC 69-65, Wichita State over UCF 61-60, George Mason over Fordham 77-45, Chattanooga over Wofford 78-66, Citadel over East Tennessee State 79-71, Western Carolina over VMI 74-72, number 15 Iowa over number 25 Rutgers 79-66, Stephen F. Austin over A&M Corpus Christi 80-68, Sam Houston State over Southeast Louisiana 79-61, number 16 Tennessee over Georgia 89-81, Missouri State over Southern Illinois 65-53, Northwestern State over Incarnate Word 68-67, Abilene Christian over Houston Baptist 88-59, Nichols over Lamar 76-71, Mercy over Sanford 77-70 in overtime, number 5 Villanova over Marquette 96-64, Ole Miss upsets number 10 Missouri 80-59, but that wasn't an upset because Ole Miss was favored. They knew something that we didn't. St. Louis over Rhode Island 67-60, LSU over Mississippi State 94-80. Vegas was wrong about that one. Number 21 Wisconsin over Nebraska 61-48, and San Diego State over San Jose State 77-55. All right, today's window, 4 o'clock, you have Gardner-Webb and Longwood. My line is Gardner-Webb by 7. I did not do totals again today because obviously I did not have time. And I don't have a line on FanDuel in front of me. Gardner-Webb 1 on ESPN is showing me. So I'm laying the 1 with Gardner-Webb against Longwood. Tennessee Martin, Austin Peay. My line is Austin Peay 8.5, and it's 15.5. I'm taking Tennessee Martin plus the 15.5. 5 o'clock, ESPN 2, number 24, Purdue at Minnesota. My line is Purdue 4.5. It's Minnesota 3.5. I'm taking Purdue plus the points and plus whatever the money line is. I don't think this is a situation like we saw yesterday in the SEC where the weird team is favored. But I'm taking Purdue plus the 3.5 and whatever the money line is. Portland Pacific, my line is Pacific 8.5. And it's 15. I'm taking Portland. Fairleigh Dickinson Wagner. My line is Fairleigh Dickinson 4.5, but we don't have a line yet. 6 o'clock, Charleston Southern High Point. My line is High Point 5.5. And it's High Point by 9. I'm taking Charleston Southern plus the points. Pac-12 Network, Utah Cal. My line is Utah 9. It's 4.5. I'm landing 4.5 at Utah at minus 115. Next up, Winthrop Radford. My line is Winthrop 7. And for some reason, the Big South lines aren't on FanDuel, but they're on ESPN. Winthrop 3.5. I'm laying it with Winthrop against Radford. Presbyterian Hampton. My line is Hampton 6.5. And it is Hampton 4. I'm laying it with Hampton. Georgia Southern, Georgia State. My line is State by 3.5, and it's State by 7.5. I'm taking Southern plus the points at minus 115. 7 o'clock, South Carolina Upstate and Campbell. My line's Campbell 5, and then that's what it is. Again, it's weird that the Big South has not posted their lines yet. But yeah, Campbell should win. I don't know what side to pick because I haven't done totals. So, if it's like 140, in the low 140s, I'll take the over. And if it's like mid 140s or higher, I'm going to take the under. How about that? ESPN, 7 o'clock, Iowa State, Kansas. My line's Kansas 13. And it is Kansas 15. I'm taking Iowa State plus the 15 and minus 120. Kansas has just been so overvalued all season long. Colorado, Stanford. My line is Colorado by a half. And Colorado's favored by 1. Total 140. I'm taking the over. St. Francis, Brooklyn. St. Francis, Pennsylvania. My line is PA by 1. And it's PA by 3. So I'm taking Brooklyn plus the 3. Merrimack Central, Con State. My line is Merrimack 7.5, and it's 3. I'm going to lay the 3 with Merrimack. Same situations here in the NEC where they're not on FanDuel, but they're on ESPN. I'm referring to the lines. LIU, Mount St. Mary's. My line is LIU by a half. It's Mount St. Mary's by 3. I'm taking LIU. Texas State, Texas Arlington. My line is State by 3.5. It's 1.5. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with Texas State. Troy, South Alabama. USA by 4.5 is the line that I project. And it's 6. Total's 135. I'm going to take the over at minus 105. Weber State, Montana. My line is Weber by 1.5. And it's 1. Total 138. I'm taking another over. Except the juice minus 115. Eastern Washington, Montana State. My line is Eastern Washington by 3.5, and it's 2.5. Total's 151.5. This is an over for me, even though it's so high. 8 o'clock, Pac-12 Network, Oregon State, Arizona. My line is Arizona 4.5, and it's 11. I'm taking Oregon State plus the big number. Yale Monroe, Louisiana. My line is Louisiana 12. And it's 9.5. I'm going to lay to 9.5 at UL Lafayette. 8:30 Southeast Missouri State at Murray State. My line is Murray State by 7.5. And it's 12.5. I'm taking Southeast Missouri State plus the 12.5 at minus 115. That's way too high for Murray State. Eastern Illinois and Jacksonville State. My line is Jacksonville State by 5.5, and it's 9. I'm taking Eastern Illinois plus the 9. 9 o'clock, ESPN, Oregon and Arizona State. My line is Oregon by 5.5, and Arizona State is ridiculously a 1.5 point favorite. This is probably the Vegas knows something that we don't game. I'm taking Oregon anyway. Fresno Air Force. My line is Fresno 8.5, and it's 4.5. I'm going to lay to 4.5 with Fresno. SIU, Edwardsville, Tennessee Tech. My line is Edwardsville 4.5. And it's Tennessee Tech by 2.5. I'm taking Edwardsville plus the 2.5 at minus 115. ESPNU, Eastern Kentucky and Belmont. My line is Belmont 9. And it's 11.5. I'm taking Eastern Kentucky plus 11.5 at minus 105. Morehead State, Tennessee State. My head is Morehead by 13. And it's 8. I'm going to lay to 8 with Morehead. Idaho State, Idaho. Well, it's at Idaho State. My line's Idaho State by 12. And it's 9. I'm going to lay to 9 with Idaho State. 10 o'clock, Pac-12 Network, number 20, USC at Washington. My line is USC by 14. And it's USC by 11.5. I'm going to lay to 11.5 at USC at minus 115. CBS Sports Network, UNLV, Boise State. My line is Boise by 7. And it's 9.5. I'm taking UNLV plus is 9.5 at minus 105. And last but not least, 11 o'clock, Fox Sports 1, UCLA, Washington State. My line is UCLA by 13.5. And it's 4.5. I'm laying the 4.5 with UCLA at minus 115. So there you have it for college basketball for tonight. And now we'll look back on yesterday's NBA games and look ahead to what is a smaller slate for tonight. So, without further ado, here we go. Raptors over the Wizards, 137-145. 115. Toronto 12-13, Washington 6-16. Norman Powell at 28 points lead the way. Bradley Beal at 24 for Washington. Mavericks over the Hawks, 118-117. As Dallas goes to 12-14, Atlanta 11-13. Luka Doncic had 28, 10, and 10. So triple-double for him. John Collins had 33 with 8 boards. Nets over the Pacers, 104-94. The Nets 15-12. Indy 12-13. Kyrie Irving 35 points and 8 assists. Domantas Sabonis 18 points, 9 boards. Grizzlies over the Hornets, 130-114. Grizzlies 10-10. Charlotte 12-14. Kyle Anderson led the Grizzlies in scoring with 27. Terry Rozier had 34 for Charlotte. Clippers over the Timberwolves, 119-112. Clippers 18-8. Minnesota 6-19. Kawhi Leonard had 36 points and 5 assists. Naz Reid led the Timberwolves in scoring with 23. And Karl Anthony Towns returned for mini in this game, so that's good. Bulls over the Pelicans, 129-116. Bulls 10-14. New Orleans 11-13. Zach LaVine had 46 points and 7 boards. Zion Williamson had 29 for New Orleans. Nuggets over the Cavaliers, 133-95. Denver 13-11. Cavs 10-16. Paul Millsap led the Nuggets with scoring with 22 points. Jarrett Allen had 18 with 10 boards. Suns over the Bucks, 125-124. Suns 15-9. Milwaukee 16-9. Devin Booker had 30 points. And Giannis Antetokounmpo had 47, 11, and 5. Lakers over the Thunder, 114-113 is in overtime as the Lakers rally back from 20 down. Lakers 20-6, OKC 10-14. LeBron James 25 points and 7 assists. Al Horford 25 points and 8 assists. As I mentioned at the top of the segment, 5 games tonight. 7:30 TNT, you have the Heat and the Rockets. My line is Heat 4.5 total to 18.5. And that is projecting John Wall to play. If John Wall doesn't play, that goes up to 6.5. And the Heat are favored by 3. We don't have a total out yet. So I'm going to lay the 3 with Miami. I hate it, but it's the right call and bank on John Wall being out. Raptors Celtics, my line is Boston 3 total to 21.5. You know, it's Boston 3 and we don't have a total yet. This sucks. If the total is anything higher than 223, I'm taking the under. And if the total is anything lower than 220, I'll jump on the over. 8 o'clock, Pacers, Pistons. My line is Pacers 8.5 total to 24. Meanwhile, it's Pacers 3 total to 18.5. I am taking, I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to take the over to 18.5. 10 o'clock, Magic Warriors. My line is Golden State 8.5 total to 22. Meanwhile, it's Golden State 6.5. We don't have a total yet. I'm laying the 6.5 at Golden State. And 10 o'clock TNT, 76ers, Trailblazers. My line is Philly 12 total to 27. Meanwhile, it's Philly 5.5 total to 29.5. And obviously, there's all the injuries and stuff. But I'm going to lay it with the Sixers tonight against the Trailblazers. All right, now we're going to go over the NHL games from last night and look ahead to the games today. There's a much bigger slate tonight with only 2 games last night. Bruins over the Rangers 3-2 in overtime on a goal by Brad Marchand. Boston's 9-1-2. New York 4-5-3. Number 3 started the game with 2 assists. Brandon Lemieux. Number 2 started the game with 33 saves on 35 shots. Tuukka Rask. And the number started the game with the overtime winner, Brad Marchand. Maple Leafs over the Canadiens 4-2. Maple Leafs 11-2-1. Montreal 8-3-2. The number 3 started the game with the goal, Josh Anderson. The number 2 started the game with 2 assists, John Tavares. And the number 1 started the game with the goal and assist, Zach Hyman. All right. A big slate tonight, but not as big as you would have thought because of all the COVID stuff. All right, 7 o'clock, you have the Penguins and the Islanders. The Islanders are favored. Actually, no, it's a pick 'em at minus 108 each side, over under 5.5. Islanders are technically favored. Minus 1.5 is plus 240. Penguins plus 1.5 is minus 295. I'm going to go with another over here. Pittsburgh's been an over team in the majority of the year. And so of the Islanders, it was an over game the other day, so give me over 5.5. Capitals Sabres postponed. Devils Flyers postponed. Lightning Panthers. The Lightning are minus 174. Panthers plus 146. Over under 6.5. Overs plus 105. Unders minus 125. Lightning minus 1.5 is plus 154. Florida plus 1.5 is minus 184. The Panthers have been pretty good for a lot of the season. 146 on the Panthers I think is enticing, so I'm going to actually bet against the Lightning here. I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it. Plus 146, Panthers straight up over Tampa Bay. Oilers, Canadians, a good game for Montreal. Montreal's a minus 142 favorite. Edmonton's plus 120. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 120. Under is even money. Oilers plus 1.5 is minus 125. Canadians minus 1.5 is plus 188. It's the second of a back-to-back, so I'm going to take Edmonton plus 120. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl could very well be the best players on the ice. And it could potentially be Jake Allen in goal for Montreal. Let's check for a hot second here who started in goal for the Canadians last night, and it was Carey Price. So, yeah, it could very well be Jake Allen tonight. So, give me Oilers plus 120 straight up. 8 o'clock, Blackhawks, Blue Jackets. Blackhawks minus 116, slight favorites. Columbus minus 102, over under 5.5, overs even money. Unders minus 120. Columbus plus 1.5 is minus 270. Chicago minus 1.5 is plus 220. I'm going to take under 5.5 and minus 120. I know it's juice, but these two teams have been under teams a lot this year, so I could see this being a 3-2 game either way, so it can be under 5.5. Red Wings, Predators. My line is, or not my line, my FanDuel line. Minus 186 for Nashville, plus 156 is for Detroit. Over under 5.5, overs even money. Unders minus 120. Detroit plus 1.5 is minus 158. Nashville minus 1.5 is plus 134. I'm going to do Predators puck line. Minus 1.5 is plus 134. I just don't like this Red Wings team at all. So give me minus 1.5 and plus 134. Senators, Jets. My line, FanDuel has Jets minus 2.5. Ottawa plus 180. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Under minus 120. Jets minus 1.5 is plus 126. Senators plus 1.5 is minus 148. I'm going to go Jets puck line. Minus 1.5 is plus 126. The Oilers. The Senators have just been the worst team in the league all year. They've been getting blown out a lot. So give me Winnipeg minus 1.5 and plus 126. Blues Wild postponed. 8:30 Hurricanes Stars. Hurricanes minus 126. Dallas plus 108. Over under 5.5. Minus 110 each way. Carolina plus 220 for minus 1.5. And Dallas plus 1.5 is minus 270. I'm going to go with the home underdog Stars here. I like how they've looked post their COVID hiatus. The same can be said about Carolina too, but I just like home underdogs. So give me Dallas plus 108 tonight. Ducks, Golden Knights, Vegas minus 225. Ducks plus 188. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 120. Under is even money. Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 126. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 108. I'm going to go back to the well and take an under at even money here. I think that was somewhat fluky. That was a high-scoring game last time. So give me under 5.5 at even money with those goalies. Flames, Canucks. Flames minus 152. Canucks plus 128. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 105. Unders minus 115. Calgary minus 1.5 is plus 180. Vancouver plus 1.5 is minus 215. I'm going to take the over 6.5 at minus 105. I think that this is a high-scoring game. The Canucks have had poor goaltending all year long for the most part. So give me Flames and Canucks over 6.5 at minus 105. Last but not least, the Sharks and the Kings. The Sharks are minus 120. The Kings are plus 102. Over under 5.5. Over is minus 130. Under is plus 110. Sharks minus 1.5 is plus 225. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 275. I'm going to go with another home dog in the Kings. Let me down last time by losing in a shootout. So I'm going to go back to the well and take Los Angeles again as a short underdog against the San Jose Sharks. All right, now we'll do my NBA Power Rankings as we will go from 30 to 1 as I normally do. So without further ado, here we go. Number 30 is the Detroit Pistons. They're terrible. They're 6-18, the worst team in the league. Jeremy Grant, though, is having a good year. 29, Washington Wizards at 6-16. They had that crazy win over Brooklyn last week, but really haven't done much since. 28, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're 6-19. Karl-Anthony Towns is back, so maybe they'll start winning some games and closing the gap in the toilet of the West. 27, the Orlando Magic, a disappointing 9-16 on the season. A ton of injuries. This is not Steve Clifford's fault whatsoever, but if he gets fired, it's a travesty. Number 26, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 10-16. They are really imploding onto the scene and getting blown out a lot. Number 25, the Oklahoma City Thunder, 10-14. They continue to stay competitive in all these games, regardless of who's on the roster. Number 24 is the New York Knicks. They are 11-15. They've fallen off a little bit, but they, unlike the Cavaliers, have been competitive in a lot of their games. Number 23, the Chicago Bulls are 10-14. They've been on and off. Zach LaVine had a good night last night. Number 22, the Charlotte Hornets. They are 12-14, currently the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. Good for them. James Borgos has to be consideration for the Coach of the Year, and obviously LaMelo Ball has to be the front runner for the Rookie of the Year. 21, the Houston Rockets. They are 11-13. They've had a nice little resurgence post-Harden trade, but I don't know if that's going to last. 20, the Miami Heat. They are 10-14. They've turned it on a little bit, so I'm giving them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. Number 19, the Atlanta Hawks. They are 8th in the East at 11-13. They have been kind of on and off. They lost last night to Dallas, but they should be fine. Number 18, the New Orleans Pelicans. They are 11-13. They've turned it around after a slow start. They're getting closer to 500. And if the season were to end today, they would not be in the playing tournament. But I think they have a real shot at getting there. Number 18, the Toronto Raptors. They are 12-13, 5th in the East. The East has been terrible. I mean, there's only really two teams with good records in the East, and then a couple underachieving teams like Boston, Brooklyn, Indiana, Toronto, Miami. But, yeah, 12-13, 5th place in the East. Number 16, the Dallas Mavericks. They are 12-14. They've turned it on a little bit. Luka Doncic is starting to play like an MVP candidate after he kind of was out of shape to start the year. Number 15, the Indiana Pacers. They are 6th in the East at 12-13. Injuries have derailed the Pacers this year. Number 14, the Sacramento Kings. They are 12-12. The season would end today. They'd be in the play-in tournament. Luke Walton's done a great job. Everybody thought that he was going to get fired, but no, he's still here, and he's doing, I think, one of his better coaching jobs. Number 13, the Memphis Grizzlies. They are 10-10. They've been tremendous as well. Taylor Jenkins has done a great job with that team, and they're getting Jaren Jackson Jr. back soon. Number 12, the Golden State Warriors. They're 8th in the West at 13-12. Stephen Curry really has been a monster. He's an MVP candidate, but Golden State has to start winning more in order for that to be taken seriously. Number 11, the Boston Celtics. They are 12-11. They've had some injuries lately, but also they've had a tough schedule. Number 10, the Denver Nuggets. They are 13-11 and 7th in the West. An ass-kicking win last night. Number 9, the Portland Trailblazers at 13-11 or 13-10. They're playing great basketball, led by Damian Lillard. Number 8, the San Antonio Spurs. Yes, the Spurs, 14-11. Greg Popovich has to be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. He's done a marvelous job. Number 7, the Brooklyn Nets. They are in third in the East at 15-12. Their defense has just been abysmal, and they've had a ton of bad losses so far this year. Number 6, the Phoenix Suns. They are in fourth in the West at 15-9. Big win last night on national TV against the Bucks. They're starting to play better. Number 5, the Los Angeles Clippers. They are third in the West at 18-8. They're playing very well. Ty Lue's done a nice job with that team, and they don't have Paul George right now. Number 4, the Milwaukee Bucks, 16-9 and second in the East. They don't have Drew Holiday right now, but they're still playing well with the exception of last night. Number 3, the Philadelphia 76ers at 18-7, first in the East. They've been playing better. I think Milwaukee's coming at them, though. Number 2, the Los Angeles Lakers at 20-6, second in the West. LeBron James should be the MVP. He's just been marvelous. Pulling the Lakers out of games that they should be losing, especially when Anthony Davis isn't there. And number 1, the Utah Jazz at 20-5, best record in the NBA. They deserve the top spot. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert has led the way. Both of them have been tremendous, as well as Mike Conley. He's had a resurgence a little bit in a contract year. And Bojan Bogdanovic is playing very well this year as well. Now we'll go over last night and this morning's Australian Open results, and we will look ahead to Friday's matches as we will predict those. So, without further ado, here we go. All right, men's. Yesterday, second round, Radu Abal over Christopher O'Connell in 3 sets. Number 9, Matteo Berrettini over Thomas Machak in 4 sets. Mackenzie McDonald over number 22, Borna Koric in 4 sets. Number 5, Stefano Tsitsipas over Thanasi Kakanakis in 5 sets. Number 28, Filip Krajinovic over Pablo Andujar in 4 sets. So that was an upset I got wrong. Number 19, Karen Kaklavov over Ricardus Berankis in 3 sets. Mikael Ymer over Carlos Alcaraz Garcia in 4 sets. Number 24, Casper Ruud over Tommy Paul in 4 sets. Lloyd Harris over Alexei Paprian in 5 sets. Number 7, Andrei Rublev over Thiago Monteiro in 3 sets. An upset, Feliciano Lopez over Lorenzo Sonego in 5 sets. Number 18, Grigor Dimitrov over Alex Bolt in 3 sets. Alexander Zverev over Maxime Cressy in 6 sets. Number 6, I should say, Alexander Zverev. Nick Kyrgios upsets number 25, Hugo Humbert in 5 sets, as I got that one correct. Number 15, Pablo Carreno Busta over Jiri Vesely in 4 sets. And last but not least, number 32, Adrian Manarino over Milomir Kekmanovic in 3 sets. All right. We already predicted what's going to go down today. Friday, 3rd round, 1 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Martin Foskovic and number 14, Milos Raonic will go with Raonic. 3 o'clock a.m., number 11, Denis Shapovalov, and number 20, Felix Auger Osterlein will go with Shapovalov there. Number 3, Dominic Thiem and Nick Kyrgios. I think this is going to be a close match. I really do. I'm going to go with Thiem in 5 sets. 14 a.m., number 1, Novak Djokovic, and number 27, Taylor Fritz. I'm going to say Djokovic in 4. I think this is a little bit more competitive than people think. TBD time, Stefano Tsitsipas and Mikael Ymer. We're going to go with Tsitsipas. Good match here. Number 16, Fabio Fognini, and number 21, Alex de Minaur. We'll go with Fognini there. Number 19, Karen Kaklavov, and number 9, Matteo Berrettini. We'll go with Berrettini. Lloyd Harris and Mackenzie McDonald will go with Mackenzie McDonald. Number 24, Casper Rudd, and Radu Albat will go with Rudd. Next up, number 4, Daniil Medvedev, and number 28, Filip Krajinovic will go with Medvedev there. Next up, number 7, Andre Rublev and Feliciano Lopez. I'm going to go with Rublev, but I think this goes 4 or 5. And last but not least, number 2, Rafael Nadal, and Cameron Norrie will go with Nadal, and I think he'll take 3 sets. Now we'll go over the women's from yesterday, and then we'll look at the Friday. Oh, we forgot to do men's from this morning. Number 2, Rafael Nadal over Michael Momo in 3 sets. Number 4, Daniil Medvedev over Roberto Calabas Buena in 3 sets. Number 21, Alex de Minaur over Pablo Cuevas in 3 sets. Cameron Norrie over Roman Safulin in 4 sets. And Fabio Fognini over Salvador Caruso in 5 sets. Now is this morning for men's that we forgot to hit on. Yesterday, women's second round, number 22, Jennifer Brady over Madison Bringle in 2 sets. Number 28, Donna Vecek over Nadia Podorska in 2 sets. Kaya Canopy upsets number 4, Sophia Kenin in 2 sets. Very impressive. Number 29, Ekaterina Alexandrova over Barbora Krejcikova in 2 sets. Number 1, Ashley Barty over Daria Gravola in 2 sets. Number 26, Yulia Punitseva over Alison Van Uytvanck in 3 sets. Number 25, Carolina Muchova over Mona Barthel in 2 sets. Number 11, Belinda Bencic over Svetlana Kunitsova in 3 sets. Shelby Rogers over Olga Danlovic in 2 sets. Number 6, Carolina Pliskova over Danielle Rose Collins in 2 sets. Number 18, Elise Mertens over Zulin in 2 sets. Number 3, Naomi Osaka over Caroline Garcia in 2 sets. Number 2, Simona Halep over Ajla Tomovic in 3 sets. Number 15, Iga Swiatek over Kamila Georgi in 2 sets. Number 32, Veronika Kudermetova over Varvara Gracheva in 3 sets. And last but not least for yesterday, second round, Sara Errani over Venus Williams in 2 sets. This morning for women's, Jessica Pegula over Samantha Stosur in 2 sets. Number 5, Alina Svitolina over Coco Gauff in 2 sets. Kristina Mladenovic over Nayo Hibono in 2 sets. Kaja Juvan over Meyer Sheriff in 3 sets. And then we picked everything for tonight. And then tomorrow for women's third round, 3 o'clock a.m., you have number 2, Simona Halep against number 32, Veronika Kudermetova. We're going to go with Halep in 2 sets. 5 o'clock a.m. Eastern, you have number 15, Iga Swiatek and Fiona Ferro. We're going to go with Swiatek. Number 25, Carolina Muchova against number 6, Carolina Pliskova. We'll go with Pliskova in the Battle of Carolinas. Number 18, Elise Mertens against number 11, Belinda Bencic. We're going to go with Mertens in that one in a little bit of an upset. Number 28, Donna Vecek over Kaya Canopy. We're going to go with Canopy again. I think she's this year's Cinderella story for the women's. Number 21, Annette Kontaveit against Shelby Rogers. We're going to go with Kontaveit. Jessica Pegula and Kristina Mladenovic. We'll go with Mladenovic. Number 1, Ashley Barty against number 29, Ekaterina Alexandrova. We'll go with Barty in 2 sets. Number 26, Yulia Punitseva against number 5, Alina Svitolina. We'll go with Svitolina there. And last but not least, number 22, Jennifer Brady against Kaja Juvan. We'll go with Jennifer Brady in that one. Now we'll move on to the Masked Dancer. We will recap last night's episode, which was very fun, to say the least. And now we know who is in the final. The guest panelist was Will Arnett of Lego Masters, and it was announced during the show that Lego Masters will return this summer. So it's going to be over a year from Season 1 to Season 2. Obviously, COVID has a lot to do with that. but that's awesome. And Masked Singer Season 5, by the way, March 10th. So, we have a couple more weeks to go for that. We had a group performance early on in the show, and it was to Shut Up and Dance With Me. The Sloth had a hint of Miami in the performance. Tulip hinted Cats. Cotton Candy hinted Boss. And Zebra, Golf. Cotton Candy hinted at ballet. A love backseat, took a backseat to love. A Supergirl Cup and a number 6. Hints about Paris in the UK. This person must have traveled. Again, a Boss hint. And then Super. Like a superhero cape. And then she said that she's been against competition in the past, but that was after her performance. Her performance was a remix to Get Ready for This and Hey Mickey. And this week we had both the Panels Connection and Word Up. The Panels Connection was to Will. And she said that he showed Will some love on The Masked Singer. So this must have been somebody that Will guessed on The Masked Singer. And he went with Tara Lipinski because he guessed Tara Lipinski on The Masked Singer as the T-Rex last year that wound up being JoJo Siwa. And the Word Up was Cover Girl. And my guess is still Simone Biles. Paula thinks, or she threw out Simone Biles for weeks. She went Gabby Douglas this week. And Ashley Tisdale went Simone Biles. The Sloth hints about being a ladies' man and a bad boy back in the day. A panda yet again. Ice skate. A cookie. He said he was lonely until he met the love of his life. There's a doctor's hint in there. There's a spice of jack-o'-lantern in there. And then there's a U bird, which was a bird with a U on it. And the performance was Dancing with a Stranger. The Panels Connection was to Brian Austin Green. And he said that they worked with one of his co-stars. And the Word Up was app, as in an app. My guess is still Leslie Odom Jr. or Derek Jeter. I put over Derek Jeter in parentheses because the Miami hint could refer to him owning the Miami Marlins. Obviously, a couple weeks ago, there's a sign that said Yankee Way. Only till he met the love of his life. Obviously, he didn't meet the love of his life until about 9 or 10 years ago in Hannah Davis. And then Odom Jr., the case for him is all the Broadway stuff. Ken Jeong went with Patrick Dempsey. Paula Abdul said Mackie Morrison or Max Schmakovsky. And then Brian went with Val Schmakovsky. The Zebra hints at like country. There are country boots. There is a garbage, which was gold. There's a ring. Hints about suffering a loss. An OK sign on the mirror. OK reverses knockout. Speaker. There's a classroom. A 510 plate. 510 can vary via zip code. And then a red ship, which is a hint towards a casino in Vegas. And his performance was to Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin. There's a craps table in the performance. And the Panels Connection, Paula Abdul, said that he loves her, and then they took a picture together. And then the Word Up was box office. Boxing. I stuck with Floyd Mayweather. Will Arnett went with Mike Tyson. Ken Jeong went with The Miz. And Brian went with Oscar De La Hoya. Tulip. There were iceberg wings. There were trophies in there. She hints about missing her best friend. There's hints about her sleeping. Z. I'll get to what I think the Z clue is in a second. And an envelope with a smiley face and the mouth looked like a D. And then there are 2 apples. And she did a polka performance. And then there were skiers in the background. And then the Panels Connection was to Ashley Tisdale. And that this person would watch High School Musical for hours. And her word up was butterflies. I've been saying Maddie Ziegler since the first episode. I think this is actually her sister, Mackenzie Ziegler. There's TikTok hints. Maddie's not on TikTok. That was by mistake. Mackenzie is on TikTok. There's a chips hint last week, which refers to her obsession of potato chips. Mackenzie was a young girl when High School Musical was a big deal. The D in the envelope, which was the mouth of the smiley face, refers to dance. The Z's in sleeping refers to their last name, Ziegler. Ashley Tisdale went with Mackenzie Ziegler as well and also threw out Maddie. And About Time, one of the judges guessed the Ziegler. And then Will Arnett went with Noah Cyrus, and Paul Abdul went with Dove Cameron and Eliza Koch. And then towards the end of the episode, because Ken Jeong didn't receive a Valentine from one of the contestants, Craig sang a song for him, which was actually pretty good. Now I know what Craig's voice sounds like for when he's inevitably on The Masked Singer in season 5. Now I just probably jinxed it. Who goes home? The zebra. I went with Floyd Mayweather. Paula's question was whether this person performed in Vegas. He said yes. And then she went with Floyd as well. Brian Austin Green asked about a major award. He said yes. He went with Oscar De La Hoya. Ashley, I have millions watching on TV. This person said yes. Ashley went with Conor McGregor. Ken Jeong asked if he had a lady in his life. He said yes. And Ken Jeong's final guess was The Miz. And then Will Arnett went with the gift that keeps on giving question. That is taller than Ken Jeong. He said yes. And he also went with Oscar De La Hoya. And who was it? Oscar De La Hoya. Brian and Will are correct. Oscar De La Hoya is the zebra. And the final three is the tulip, the sloth, and the cotton candy. I think exotic bird should have been in there rather than sloth. But sloth really has gotten better by the week. So it makes sense that sloth is in there. And as of right now, my guesses for these contestants, Mackenzie Ziegler, Simone Biles, and Leslie Odom Jr., but I don't feel good about it. I feel the best about Mackenzie being the tulip, and a close second to Simone Biles being the cotton candy. And sloth, I think I'm most intrigued for because of the possibility of it being one Derek Jeter. So, obviously being a Yankees fan, I kind of hope it's Derek Jeter, but I don't think it's Jeter, although there are hints related to Jeter, such as Miami in the group performance, Yankee Way sign. That could be Alex Rodriguez, though. Could be A-Rod. So I wouldn't rule out A-Rod either for the sloth. All right. Last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. There was a pick that stood out to me in college basketball. And that pick is, I know I have to lay some juice here because of the number and the fact that it's juiced a little bit. I'm stuck between two, actually. And I'm going to go with UCLA minus the 4.5 against Washington State. Washington State's season is falling apart. They're not the same team as they were earlier in the year. So I'm going to go with UCLA minus 4.5 against Washington State. So there you have it for the show. We'll be back tomorrow, recapping everything from today and looking ahead to tomorrow and the weekend. We will predict who will win the 3 NASCAR races. My NHL Power Rankings will be out tomorrow as well. And obviously my best bet too. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.